And welcome in to be your guest. You know, what would you do if you woke up tomorrow morning and there was no electricity in your house? You would go into a panic. Because, first of all, if you stop and think of the amount of things in your house that are run by electricity, it's overwhelming. We're very fortunate today to have the area manager for Alabama Power Company. Mike Jordan is with us. And Mike, what we want to talk to our viewers about today is ways that they can kind of conserve a little bit of electricity because they're getting older and they keep seeing that bill go up.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's our pleasure. You're always on for us.
Amen.
Well, summertime is the time of year where we do begin to get several of those questions because the temperatures are getting warmer outside. It's getting more humid. So people begin to ask questions, well, how can I save a few dollars on my power bill? And really there are some very simple things that everyone can do, no matter the age, no matter your ability. There are some simple things you can do to help offset some of those costs. The first this time of year is to begin to take a visual look at your system. Is it running? Is it operational? Do you need to get that air conditioning unit serviced? This is the time of year where someone should really begin to think about that. Change your filters on a monthly basis.
Yes, absolutely.
Make sure that your windows and doors are closing properly to make sure that your air conditioning is not leaking outside of your house.
You're cooling the lawn.
Cooling the lawn. But there's some small things that everyone can do, just making a visual check of their home that in the long run and in the short run will save a great deal of money. Beyond that, there are some things that we always recommend even when one is inside the home. For instance, everyone has a different comfort level, and I'm not here to say that a 78 for you is going to be the right temperature for someone else, but generally 78 seems to be a temperature that people may want to set their thermostat on. And our tip is whatever your comfort level is, find it and leave it. And try to avoid the ups and downs with your thermostat, running it up to 78 and then bringing it back down to 72 and then 78 again, and then try to find out what your comfort level is and then leave your thermostat. Ceiling fans. This time of year, ceiling fans have been turning clockwise during the wintertime. Now that we're in the summer, those ceiling fans should begin to turn counterclockwise. Force that breeze down, and it has a cooling effect. And what we found is that a 2-degree rise in your thermostat, so if you go from 76 to 78 or from 78 to 80, is going to account for about a 10% savings on one's electric bill. So, granted, there are a lot of factors there, but on average, you do see savings when you even make small adjustments to your thermostat during the year.
That adds up, and I can remember, Mom keeping all the drapes closed to keep the sun out and the heat out. And you could tell that made up, because I'm amazed at how much heat can even come through a window. I have a question though, like if I know I'm going to be gone all day, am I wiser to go ahead and move it up to 80 or 82 and turn it down when I come home, or should I just consistently leave it?
I think you'll find that if you consistently leave it, you're better off. Because what your system is doing is actually removing humidity from the air. We all have been on fairly warm temperature days where the humidity is low and it feels comfortable outside. Conversely, we've been outside on days where the temperature is in maybe the low 70s, but the humidity is really high and we feel uncomfortable. Well, it's the humidity that's being taken out of the air by your air conditioning unit. And what might happen is you run your air conditioning unit during the morning before you leave for work. If you were to turn it off or raise away where it's not going to come on until you're back home that afternoon, you might find that the system is not working as well. It is taking longer to remove the humidity simply because there's more of it that's built up in that house during the course of the day. So we would recommend that find that comfortable level for you. You may want to raise it 1 or 2 degrees if that's your preference, but try to leave it on for the entirety of the day.
There's one more thing we wanted to talk about that pertains to this, and that is trees and the shade and the planting, and you had some really interesting tips on that as well.
Sure. Well, summertime is where we do see a lot of beautiful shade trees, and everyone loves their trees, and at Alabama Power we love trees more than anyone. And the message is, if one is planting a tree, be mindful of where that shade tree is being planted. A small 6-foot tree today may be a 50-foot tree in just a few years. And be mindful of where one is planting that tree. Is it underneath a power line? Is it where in 5 or 6 years the branches of that tree are going to begin to interfere with that power line? Our tree trimming program is for a safety and reliability, purposes. Tree limbs cause if tree limbs are in the lines, you're going to have more blinks. You're going to be resetting your clocks more often. All of that thing that goes along with instantaneous lapses of electricity. But also it provides opportunities for squirrels to get onto lines, and squirrels can do a great deal of damage, and are for lack of a better word, they cause a lot of the outages that we see here in the River Region area.
Oh my gosh. Well, think before you plant.
Absolutely.
Listen, it's been so fun to have you, and thank you for the tips,
Sure.
and thank you for all that Alabama Power does so efficiently. And I think our rates are just wonderful. I've lived other places, and I think we're very fortunate. So we'll have you back on, Mike, to talk about something else. And thanks for being with us, because we've enjoyed this. Hope you've learned something, and we'll be right back.